TV Toys. This time, by special request, thank you very much, it's a Nightwing figure from Hasbro's line celebrating the new Batman adventures from the later 1990s. And this figure, I've owned this figure for more than 20 years, and I really have always thought that it has kind of a special characteristic, and I'm not going to tell you what that is. No. Previously on Terrific TV Toys, we've looked at a couple figures from a set by Hasbro/Kenner from the late 1990s. We looked at the Batgirl figure, who is dated 1998, although I did not show her accessories in that episode. So I want to do that real quick now. I did some digging, both in the storage boxes downstairs and on the internet for photos showing what her accessories were, and those were these. We got 2 batarangs that she can throw, and then we got this gizmo that shoots out a projectile which will go all the way across the room. So that's Batgirl. Then in another episode, we saw the Harley Quinn figure. We did see her accessories because her accessories are these 2 beautiful hyenas who assist her faithfully. And then Harley is dated 1998. I love how they're on the bottom of their footwear. So that's Harley Quinn. In a future episode, we're going to take a look at the Supergirl, the Timverse animated Supergirl, who has no accessories except for one that I added later that I'll explain in that episode. But for this episode, and actually, by the way, Supergirl is dated 1999. But for this episode, we're going to check out Nightwing. And he is dated, just for the sake of completion, 1997. So he also has some accessories. Let me move everybody else out of the way so we can concentrate on Nightwing. Okay, he has some accessories that came with him too. These 3 throwing stars, they're called, on the packaging. And then these are referred to as night vision goggles. Got a little bit of elastic around them so you can put those on Nightwing. Yeah, that works. And then the other accessories are these ninja sticks, and I've got them stuck in there pretty well. They come, you'll see when I show you the package that they come separately, but you can put them in this little like backpack gizmo, and I'm not going to force them out of there because they've literally been in there 20 years. So that's Nightwing's accessories that came with him, and it was a minor miracle, by the way, that I was able to find all of these. As a collector, accessories have been close to irrelevant for me, I have to admit. They almost always go like into a storage box somewhere if the figure gets displayed. Like if I put him out on a shelf, then I'm just going to lose these. I'll put these in a box. And so then, over the years, they get mixed in with a whole lot of other accessories and figures and even Happy Meal toys or whatever, until years later, it's all a jumbled mess. And so that's what has happened here in the BRBTV household, and that's why I had to dig through several boxes. I did find one box in particular that had basically everything in it, but they could have been strewn across like 3 or 4 boxes downstairs. So that's what I had to rifle through in the days leading up to shooting this. Now, Nightwing himself, if you know the new Batman Adventures animated series from the latter 1990s, you know that he is the Dick Grayson Robin all grown up. And this comes from the comics as well. And they featured Dick Grayson as Robin in Batman the Animated Series from 1992 to, I believe it was 1996. And then when they retooled the show and redesigned the characters, they had a little bit of a gap, I think a gap that they addressed in some later movies a little bit, but a gap of time between then and starting out the new Batman Adventures, whereas Robin became Nightwing. It was still Dick Grayson, but now as Nightwing. And not really any explanation was given for that when the new Batman Adventures debuted, but you got the sense that there was some kind of falling out with Batman, and I think that is pretty true to the comics. And he went out on his own. He went solo. And he still was fighting crime with these guys, and there was a little bit of something that happened along the way with those two. But Nightwing became a solo act. And then in the new Batman Adventures, Tim Drake, one of the other Robins, was featured as Robin in that animated series. They did not really use Jason Todd. They used him later in a movie, but Jason Todd, the other Robin from the comic books, was absent. They kind of skipped him, but that is another story. And the same actor who voiced Dick Grayson / Robin in Batman the Animated Series voiced Nightwing in the new Batman Adventures, and that was Lauren Lester. And so you see in this figure, which is a big figure, he is head and shoulders taller. Let me see if I line them up this way. It would be equivalent to a few inches taller than Babsy here. He's a tall guy, a big dude. He's got a little bit of padding in his chest here to make him nice and muscular, and he is nice and muscular anyways. In his arms, he's got actually the approximation of black gloves on with the black flesh here, black plastic figure. So he's all in black with his blue trim, and that's a outfit that I believe comes from the comics too. I don't know a whole lot about Nightwing from the comics, except when he guested in some Batgirl comics, I would see him. So interesting pointed shoes, boots, whatever you would call them, although this part, the fabric part, comes up. And I'm guessing that in the comics it was like a leotard, and on the show kind of looked like a leotard, although it's got this, cuff here. And articulation here at the ankle. Of course, articulation here too. He is more articulated than the girl figures. The girl figures are kind of like one style of Barbie that, their articulation is very similar to a Barbie doll. And to me, Nightwing has more articulation, as if he was an actual figure, or more like a big Mego or something, as far as the articulation. And there were several others in this set at the time by Hasbro / Kenner. I think I mentioned that in the other episodes. There was a Batman, there was the small Robin, Tim Drake, because he was a young kid, and a Joker, and I think some others. It must have been a Superman, although I don't remember seeing it at the time, but I got the Supergirl. So, and then look at this. Is this, like, not a raging mullet? I mean, on the show, I kind of got the feeling this is 1997, 98, but I don't think anybody was wearing mullets still by then, but this really seemed to me to be a mullet in this Timverse style for the show. And you've got the mask that just sort of ends like it's stuck on his face too. So yeah, this part, the blue part in the front, is sort of a velvety type material against the more polyester leotardy material behind it, with his Nightwing emblem. And yeah, let me see. Let's take a look at the packaging for Nightwing 2.